All right, here we go. We are here with Brian Farrell. Brian, where are you reporting live out of?
I'm in my basement in Towson.
Towson, Maryland. So
Yeah.
welcome to Trilogy Lacrosse Theater, episode 16. Really excited to sit down and talk with you more. One of my all-time favorite co-coaches and co-director of a Trilogy Lacrosse raffle. There's some epic footage out there that I was trying to dig through the archives last night, and there's definitely been a lot that's been lost on the cutting room floor, but there's still some good ones up on our, if you really scroll back on our Twitter and our Facebook and Instagram, you can find some gold. So I pulled up a few, but how you doing today?
Doing well. Yeah, I was scrolling through some as well too, trying to find some gold, but those videos might be lost in the archives.
I also think that, in the moment, some of those are so incredibly funny. And then, looking back, you're like, I guess that was funny, but not as funny.
We thought it was really funny at the time. But yeah.
It's still funny to us. I still think the rider raffle, and I couldn't find any videos. I found one, but the rider raffle where we had Super Mario Brothers contest. We had Cinco when we were up on the stage. That was
a whole production.
That was our crowning achievement right there.
Yeah, it was like a set list. We were like, okay, this is the Mario. We're going to do Mario this time, and we're going to do baseball swings this time, and we got rock, paper, scissors next. Who's on?
We had a 6-page curriculum for camp. Then we had a 25-page script for the raffle.
A 7-page for the raffle.
I literally think we were up to 2 a.m. planning for that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Oh, man. Well, so, you and I were just talking. Obviously, your role as a head coach, you bleed boys Latin, maroon and white more than anyone. So sorry to hear about the official cancellation of the season. But I guess looking back, how has everyone been taking it? Obviously disappointment, but how did did you guys had a couple games or just practices?
We had 2 games. We had 2 scrimmages, 2 games. So cut pretty short, but I talked to him last night just about we still made a lot of moments and we still made a lot of memories in such a short time. And I think it's the bonds that the guys made and that they'll carry on that will really, speak true about this 2020 group. Obviously disappointed that we couldn't be out there, but certainly understand the circumstances.
Yeah. And then being a Boys Latin alum, now the head coach, obviously, is there anything that you can point to from your time at Boys Latin? Obviously not that's exactly like this, but adversity that you guys face that you've been able to lean on and say, hey, I mean, I know what you're feeling, or to a degree, I know what you're feeling. Or do you think that's been helpful, at least, that you're a Boys Latin alum and you can talk to these guys about what it's like?
I mean, we all go through experiences, and again, there's so many different stories you can go back to in your lacrosse career, in your life, really, to talk to the boys about. I think just having them understand that right now, perspective-wise, this is the right thing to be doing, and understanding that you're going to go through a lot of tough times in life, but right now we're going to get through this, and we're going to get through it together. So, yeah, this is definitely a time of adversity for them, but I think they're going to come out stronger than when we started.
Absolutely. So let's take a little walk back through the life of Brian Farrell. So you grew up in Baltimore. You went to Boys Latin. Was Boys Latin always a foregone conclusion? Where would you have gone to public school if you hadn't gone to Boys Latin?
I would have gone to Towson High School, but I started in Boys Latin at 6th grade. Okay. I was at Rogers Forge, which is a local public school. I actually live right down the street from it now. And then I went to private school in 6th grade.
Got it. And did lacrosse have anything to do with it? Was your dad a Boys Latin guy?
No, he was a Calvert Hall guy.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was all purely academic for me. I needed a smaller classroom. I needed all boys. I needed to slow it down, have some individual personalized education. So Boys Latin fit that role pretty well. I mean, a lot of my classes in 6th grade were 9 to 10 kids, whereas if I was in a public school, it would have been 20, 25. So I needed that small kind of personalized approach to my academic career. So that's where I started out.
Nice. And who were some of the studs on those Boys Latin teams that you grew up playing on, some of the guys that have gone on to continue playing?
Well, one of my assistants, Chris Bowen, who worked with Trilogy for a little while, he was one of the better high school players you'll ever see. He was a 3-time All-American, which is hard to see, sophomore, junior, and senior All-American. Travis Reed, who came and played with me at Maryland, was an unbelievable player. Guys like Brett Weiss, Jake Hagelin. We had a lot of great players. and obviously they all panned out, had great careers. David Shriver, who was the best man at my wedding, went on, was a captain at Georgetown. So it was a really special time to play there. The year before, in the 2005 team that was stacked with talent, like guys like Tad Stanwyck, who's Steele's oldest brother, not a lot of people talk about. He's a SEAL right now, which is pretty cool. Guys like Rocco Romero played at Cornell.
Yeah, Rocco.
Yeah. Shane Walter Hoffer. Those teams were very, very talented.
That's awesome. And then what was your journey like to get to Maryland? How did obviously keeping it local? How did Coach Cottle come knocking, or what was the connection or the thing that really put you over the top there that were like, I'm going to Maryland? They're like, we want you.
Yeah, so I think our classes were like the last wave of the way they recruit right now, where it was junior year, you would go on visits. Before they started the early recruiting, we were kind of like the last wave where it was pretty traditional. I would go on a couple of visits to schools. I remember going to Notre Dame, up to Syracuse, UNC, and then obviously Maryland was one of my choices just because my dad had gone there. It was local. It was far enough away where you felt like, okay, I'm getting away from home, but close enough where you could come back and be like, okay, Mom, do my laundry for me for a little while. And, obviously Coach Cottle was a big influence and a big reason I wanted to go there. Same with Coach Slavkowski. You just look at the Maryland defenses past, over, and it's funny, because during these quarantines, I'm watching a lot of the old Maryland film because everybody's got it up on Twitter and all this stuff. And those were some really tough Maryland teams back in the day. And I remember going to see them in the Final Four in the 90s, and teams that were coached by big man, like those were really big inspirational teams to me, especially when I was a youth guy. Guys like Dan Radeball, I looked up to him a lot. And when I had the opportunity to go to a school that I care a lot about, and obviously it meant a lot to my family, I felt like it was the right fit for me.
That's awesome. And then you get there, and you mentioned the old videos resurfacing. I was doing my research and looking up some games. You guys had some battles, especially with UVA. Like, how many times did you meet UVA as the final game in the playoffs? Was it 2 or all?
Yeah. So in my career, it was in our career, it was 2 in the playoffs. Both very close game. One for the national championship and one for the quarterfinals. The one in the quarterfinals was a double overtime game, which was just a thriller. And then obviously last game of the old career was against UVA in the national championship, but they were always well coached, obviously talented, like any other team you play. They're just one of the better talented teams you'll ever see. And always brought out the best of us.
Yeah, and that defense, I mean, I just remember, I guess, which is when you graduated. You graduated in 2011? I did, yes.
Yeah,
so I guess I remember watching those games, and your defense, you guys always just had big, like physical, athletic defenses, and that was for a long time, not just your 4 years, but for a long time. Maryland was kind of always known for that when you go even back to like Pasavia and some of these guys. And so who was on your line for that senior year in 2011?
Our senior year, so we had it was an incredible defense. We had Max Schmidt, Brett Schmidt, and Ryder Bolander, who started on close defense, and then myself and Jesse Bernhardt. Actually, Michael Earhart was kind of like the third pole in that as well. It's just crazy, right? He was a freshman at that time, and he was a guy you could just tell he was going to take over the reins at some point and be the leader and the star player that he is right now. So, yeah, me and Jesse were the poles with Earhart, and then guys like Landon Carr, Dan Burns were short stick defensive midfielders.
Burns.
Yeah, Danny Burns. So it was, and then obviously we had Nico and Cage. So it was a pretty solid defense. I thought we had really good chemistry, which helped us out a lot. And very senior, a lot of veteran guys on that team too.
Any like stand out or like?
Sorry, Reese is joining. Get out of here! Hey, get out of here!
Usually I have a kid pop in, you get the dog popping in, it's all right.
I know. I didn't think she was going to be barking this morning.
Any like moment that stands out where you're like, oh, that was Maryland defense at its finest? Any like particular instant that you?
Oh yeah. There was I wasn't even on the field. I watched the play all the time. It was one of my favorite moments in our time at Maryland. It was the Duke semifinal game. It might be on one of the YouTubes, but it's just a bunch of hitting and like there's a bunch of ground balls. Brett knocks some guy out, and then you see, I think it's Landon comes over and lays somebody out. It's like 3 hits in a row. It's like huge hits in a row. And the commentators are like, wow, boy, those boys are laying bodies right now. And and you see the bench. Like, that's what you saw. You saw the bench just explode. And it was just a tough series of hits and ground balls. And it's just like, that's Maryland defense. That's the physical defense that we preach about. A cool moment. I watch it all the time. We send it. It gets sent around the old text chains a bunch.
It's awesome. I didn't find that one. If you send it to me, I'll try to pull it up. Do you know offhand how many goals you had, career goals? Because you were definitely known for bringing the ball up. I've got one pulled up that I remember seeing, whether I saw it live or whether I saw highlights, that I was just like, man, this kid's special. You got to tell me the year, because if it was 2011, we knew you were coming to the Cannons, and I definitely was excited for it.
I had no idea how many points. No. Oh, yeah.
Says?
Yeah, good play by Cena right there.
Yeah, Cena with the pickoff. So who set the stage here? You guys are at Carolina, or are you at home here?
That's actually Hopkins. We're at Hopkins right now. Not a great day for the old Maryland Terrapins that day. I always talk about this. People talk about this, but no one talks about that. We got beat up pretty tough that day. Just I had seen that they actually threw a flag, and I was like, you know what? Whatever, go for it. If it goes in, it goes in. If not, we're gonna get the ball back. So, we actually lose this game 10-4, and so while this is a cool clip to play on YouTube, it's not my favorite memory because Hopkins had our number a good amount of times. And actually, that's funny because that's one of my good buddies growing up. We played against each other. That's Michael Kimmel.
He's just giving it to you here.
Yeah, I've got a funny picture of that. I'll show you. Hold on 1 second. So there's a picture of Michael actually holding my pants back on that one right there. Yeah, thought that'd be funny to show. My mom somehow found that because she has a good relationship with his dad, so they always would bust each other's chops. And she found that picture. She sent it to me. I got it framed.
That's awesome. And it feels like every Trilogy Lacrosse theater we have talked about a hidden ball trick. And I don't know that I knew that you were part of a pretty awesome hidden ball trick here until I saw this video. And this was on Lax Playground, so I'm pretty sure you can hear like the Alfords screaming in the background. Have you seen this version of the video?
I haven't seen this version. No, I've never heard the Alfords in the background. I'm sure it's great.
Yeah, I'll turn the volume down to start, but then we'll get one with the volume up. But this is just an awesome executed ball trick. Yeah, so it's like, look, they got the TiVo on, and they're watching the game, and they're watching it back. And so this is against North Carolina, it looks like?
Yep. It's first round of the 2011 playoffs. It wasn't really scripted. I remember myself and Ryan Young the week before, we were just joking around, and I think Catalina was near us, and we were like, hey, if we ever did this, like in a subbing situation, I'm going to keep it no matter what. And Cat was definitely, around there, and I think he probably heard it, but this was just like, hey, if it doesn't work, nothing happens. We still have the ball. And, got to give a lot of kudos to Snyder over there. So that's Drew Snyder who actually catches it. He realized that I still had the ball, and he pops open. And I thought that they figured it out because you look at my guy, he knows I have it.
Well, yeah, he's the only one, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the goalie are all staring right at Snyder.
Right at Grant. So everybody, the real winners of this, the real actors in this one are Grant. And, if Snyder doesn't realize that I have it, this play doesn't happen.
This is Grant on the back. Who's on the back?
That's Snyder. That's Drew Snyder. Grant's got the ball. Grant doesn't have it, but he's faking like he has it.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, and Snyder, I love Snyder crow hops like he's gonna shoot this a million miles an hour, and then you realize there's no way.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I guess I
I
just.
gotta. I think I remember talking to him after. He's like, "Okay, I gotta put this in. I've got to put this in."
I was saying that. So Kip Turner came on. He's been the victim, unfortunately, a few times.
Yeah.
But I was like, how many goalies have just gotten absolutely pegged? You know, when they're not even looking by like someone who just misses on an open net and just drills the goalie. That's the ultimate fail there.
Yeah.
So you guys had never attempted or executed one of
We
these?
didn't practice it at all. We were like just joking around in practice. I think it was like a pregame practice, and we were like, "This would be funny if we were subbing one day. I think I'm going to keep it no matter what." And it was like, "Yeah, you just keep it no matter what. You're keeping it." It worked out okay.
That's awesome. And then, so 2011, you guys make it to the big show and lose a heartbreak. Well, it was like 9-7, right? It was a close game, a low scoring game.
Yeah.
You know, obviously we won't watch any of that. Have you watched that game?
Please no, I've never watched it. So
yeah, I watched us losing to Duke in the Final Four a couple of years ago, but it had been like 10 to 15 years, and it's like it still doesn't get much easier. Almost gets worse.
Yeah.
But then fast forward, but then you come and join the Boston Cannons. So your first year, so you lose one championship, but then your very first year you win the 2011 championship. So talk a little bit about that experience and what that was like coming onto that team. And because that was still when you would come in, like, especially since you guys have been in the national championship, you came in like halfway through the season, right?
Yes. I came in, I think you guys were like 6 games in, 6 or 7 games in maybe. And it was one of those experiences where I was like, okay, what's going on? Like, I don't understand. We come in and Kyle Sweeney's first defensive advice is, all right, just don't get beat. Don't get beat. That's going to be our defensive plan for the game. And I'm coming from like a Maryland system where I'm like, okay, we're going to force them this way. This is our recoveries. These are our reads. Like, this is our communication. And first thing I hear is like, yeah, just don't get beat. I'm like, all right. Okay. And, I look back at that time, and it was such a great group. Like that 2011 team, while I was on there for a short period of time, I think we bonded so quickly. And for me, just, being a new guy, for you guys to just take me in. And we had some really good times just being in pregame practices. I remember like throwing balls as fast as we can at each other, just having fun, trying to warm up before games, or the pregame meals, and meeting RB like for the first time and getting to know him really well. It was a special summer, and one I'll definitely never forget.
Any other like aha moments from the summer, maybe on the field? Obviously the Sweeney thing sticks right out, which is great. We had Sweeney on here a couple times, but anything else that you're like on the field, you're like, oh my God, this is like a different game than the college game?
Yeah. I think the first time someone hit a 2-pointer on us, I forget who it was, but I remember I was like, oh, okay, I'm giving up a 16-yard shot. And I remember coming over to the bench, and BD just gets in my face. He's like, that's 2 points right there. And you got to get in his hands. I'm like, I'm so used to giving up a 16-yard shot that it's that it was unnatural to me. But, it was so much fun, because you think about it, when you're in college, and especially when we played, I think we all forget that we had the horn, right? We had the horn. The ball was out of bounds, so it wasn't as fast-paced as the MLL game. So for me, it was like, okay, there's no horn. There's 60 seconds. You're telling me I don't have to play defense for 60 seconds? That's awesome. Like, and then we get to go up and run and go try to play some offense. Like, this is going to be a great time. And so that transition into the game, the pro game, while obviously I cherish every moment at Maryland, the games itself were just so different at the time that it kind of fit my style, and it fit my personality and how I like to play. So it was it was a good transition. I enjoyed playing the pro game a lot.
Well, you bring up an interesting point, because so Ryan and I watched like some old Princeton games with Streebs, and the horn thing, it's like, oh my God, that was so slow. But I forgot now that I know, but didn't think about now, like the transition from the college to the pro game is so much more similar. It's just a 2-point arc. Whereas for us, it was like, oh man, this is like the biggest change. The game's like a whole nother speed, which was cool. Well,
and I look at the game now and I'm like, gosh, you guys this is awesome. Go, play faster. Like go and enjoy the 80 go enjoy the shot clock because I think the game's in a good place right now. I think a couple of things that they made adjustments on. It's fun to play. And it's definitely fun to coach.
And has that trickled down to MIAA? Do you guys play?
Yes, yeah. So we're one of the only. I don't know officially, but we were the first league to take the 80 seconds in the new NCAA rules.
Yeah, so you guys basically just play straight up college rules.
Yeah, whatever college does, we're gonna do.
That's great. All right, well, let's take a look back at the 2011 championship weekend. I actually hadn't seen this in years, but looking back at Jack Reed in there. Yeah. So this was that Hurricane game.
Yeah, that was a good one.
And there's Sweeney giving you the advice, just not let him score. But like guys like Pat Heim were big contributors. JJ Morrissey on this team. How about Burke there, just taking one right in the gut? Oh,
he was. I mean, obviously MVP for a reason. That guy was so rock solid. It was incredible. And again, we got a lot of shots taken on us because of good players on the other team, and he saved us a boatload of times. You look at that team. There are so many great personalities. Obviously, you had superstars like Rabel and Ryan, but our defense was really selfless. Jimmy Morrissey was one of the better teammates you ever play with, just because of how humble he was and how he was so wise, and he always knew where to put guys and how to recover, and he was always communicating. And then guys like Smalley, that guy was one of the most underrated players I'll ever play against. He has a goal, I think, in this game, or a goal or an assist that's just absolutely huge. I think we're man down, and he scores a huge goal in this game. But Smalley was, and again, another guy that just brought a lot of energy, and you kind of fed off of that as well too. But it was a special team, no doubt about it. And I think all these different personalities meshed really, really well together. Guys like Stoney. How about Stoney? Like that guy, no one knew about him until this weekend, and he had a hell of a weekend and obviously a hell of a career after. But he just did what he was asked to do and dodge hard and take advantage of the matchups. It was a really awesome team. God, Bucky, Quinzani,
Quinzani, I forgot how bad this pass was. This was 1.2 seconds left, right? So Ryan tries to feed this in, but it's like and for anyone who doesn't remember, the hurricane had just started, right? Well, I don't remember what. No, it wasn't Katrina, but one of the big hurricanes came through.
Sandy? Was it Sandy?
No, it was between Sandy and Katrina, yeah. But. And then that goal with 1.2 seconds left, I forgot how much Quinzani had to dig that thing out of the ground. And
it was unbelievable.
And then and then that.
We're like that went in. We're like that went in.
Well, exactly. It kind of trickled in, and then that next game. So we go back to the hotel because we had the first game, and then that next game, which is the Nationals versus might have been Denver.
Outlaws.
I think so.
Yeah, Outlaws or Lizards.
And just absolute torrential. The boards are blowing across the field because the hurricane was coming in. And then the next day, just absolutely beautiful. And we had a great game. It was real windy. I remember that.
God, Brad,
throwing the body around out there.
Yeah. Our defense was what a mixture. You had guys like you who were just locked down, solid, all-around good defender. Sweeney was a guy that could do everything. Trick of all trades, do everything, play up top, play behind, go score a million goals. And you had the sandpaper. You had Reader. Reader was hilarious because he just he was the toughness that every defense needs. I call it the sandpaper. Every good defense, I think, needs a little sandpaper. Some guy that's just gritty and wants to whack a guy and make sure that you're playing against us. You're playing against a tough defense. But yeah, there's some good stuff with that defense.
Well, I think that recipe for success, like you kind of just nailed it. It's like a guy that can push transition from the back end. Mm-hmm. You got a complete stay-at-home guy, and then you got your enforcer. And I think with those three things, like you look at any good defense over the last couple of years, and they have some version of that, right? Yeah. At least. And I think, and then when you add you were pushing a lot in transition and PT. We had PT.
And again, PT, one of my favorite teammates of all time. I didn't even mention him. We had such a good bond, and he was such a reliable guy for me because I was new. I didn't know much about the league. He was a couple years in, and he walked the walk before, and he helped me a lot as far as what to expect, what you should and should be doing off the wings. We had a guy like Chris Eck who was just a phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal face-off guy. And, a lot of times I was so, Maryland, I followed rules for Maryland, and PT was like, yeah, you got to just listen to Eck and listen to what we like to do. Because
it wasn't Eck that was saying you got to listen to Eck. It was
probably that. But PT would, he helped me tremendously transition into the pro game, and I thank him a lot because we had such a good 1-2 punch, and it was like we fed off each other. If he actually had a hell of a game in that Hurricane game. I think he scores a goal, maybe 2 goals, or he has 1 or 2 goals, but he's a huge piece of our team's success. Again, another guy that flies under the radar completely.
Yeah, and he was still going as of.
He still is going, I think. Yeah, I know.
And
still playing.
And then I pulled up a clip. So the ultimate clip that I don't know if it even exists, if there was even video of it, but I still to this day, one of my favorite MLL memories is you and me executing the
man ball.
Classic man ball. It was both of us ran. We had been coaching camp all summer together, and we look at each other, and I'm like, man, you're like, ball. I think it was against Charlotte. I want to say
Charlotte, down in Charlotte. Yeah, I'll never forget that because I think we drove to the game. We were in Atlanta. It might have been, I don't know.
But a few traces south or Atlanta overnight.
Yeah, and I think we just drove there because we were like, you know what? I think RB rented a car and we just drove there together.
We did. And, that's right. What a road trip. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Luke Kuechly was there that weekend. Remember that? Luke Kuechly, the linebacker for the Panthers, he was floating around for some reason.
Yeah. No, plays like that make you smile. And it's again, reasons you love the coach and the reasons you love the game. It's just such a simple fundamental. And I think it's almost undercoached right now. That is 2-on-1 ground balls. Someone's got to take the man. Someone gets the ball. It's as simple as it gets. And I think, we take for granted that you learn it in first grade or you learn it when you're growing up in the one-on-one stuff, but that's everywhere. You could go watch any college game and there's opportunities for man ball situations. You just got to do it. Again, professional ranks, it was right there in front of us. And our camp chemistry got the best of it. So we got a nice little play.
Well, and guys are so good now at goosing the ball and whacking the ball forward. That's almost more important. It's like if you can effectively neutralize that man, then
gladiator ground balls. We actually do gladiator ground balls where it's like a 2v1, and it's like whoever made the ground ball possible, whether it's the guy making a man call or the guy giving a goose call, he becomes the gladiator.
I love it. And you got you and Boland running the drills. So you guys
yeah, exactly.
Years of training in the Trilogy.
Why are they in a circle and the coach is speaking like he's from the Roman Empire? Hearing that.
Well, this play kind of epitomizes this time, and it's filmed from a fan's cell phone, I think. So the quality is not amazing. I don't know if that's me on defense. I think by the hunched over look on the ground ball, it might be. Yeah. But we knock the ball down and get the ball up. Brian Farrell with the attempted just behind the back ripper right away. Is this that looks like then the diving swipe ×2 flicks it over to you. This is just backyard ball. And I love this, how carefree and loose it was. We get the over the head check, pick up the ball, fire it upfield. I think that was me that passed it to you.
It was you that passed it to me. And then I'm trying to get it to Morrissey. And what a play by that is. Jeez Louise.
And then we go crossfield. It's kind of sloppy, but also kind of nice. And then I don't even know. Oh, they feed it back inside. I can't even tell who this is.
I couldn't see that.
I think this might be Rochester, it looks like.
Yeah.
There's Junior walking off the field.
You play midfield? Wow.
This is 2011. Junior was still running midi. But yeah, I mean the crowd. There's something about playing in Harvard Stadium on a Saturday night with 80, 75 degrees. The weather's perfect when that sun goes down. The crowd gets into. Obviously, this is looking away from the stands, but I mean we would have 9, 10, 11,000 people at these nice games, and that was just such a special time.
Yeah, those fans were unbelievable, and the organization was just so professional at all times. It was something you look forward to every week, and those playing one game a week. You don't see each other that much. You go work your regular job, but then you come in and you see each other for 2 days, right? You go out to dinner the night before, and then you get to get prepared to play in such an awesome arena where there's, like you said, a good fan base, a really great fan base, on a Saturday evening, a brisk Saturday evening in Cambridge. There's nothing better.
Yeah, and so then you're now professional, and I don't think you worked camp 2011, right? Because did you work in a corporate job for your first year out of school?
No, I was looking for jobs. Actually, my first year out of school, I went to a boarding school in Maine called Bridgeton Academy.
Bridgeton, that's right. You're a Bridgeton.
So it was something where I knew I wanted to keep playing. I wanted to keep playing for Boston, and a job popped open at a school where they needed a assistant athletic director, and I was like, oh, that sounds cool. That sounds fun. And a lacrosse coach, and so got a little taste of the boarding school world up there.
And was it not until 2013 that is most of the footage I could find, but maybe it's just because we don't have stuff from 2012. Was it the summer of 2012 or 2013 that you started doing camps with us at Trilogy?
I think it was 2012. I remember 2011. RB and you were just kind of getting going, and I knew who Trilogy was. I didn't know much about it. And then I think the summer of 2012, I was just looking for some stuff to do. And that's when RB asked me to come on and just help with this directing stuff. Cause, I think we were just, I think overnight camps were definitely a big part of who we were, and they still are, obviously. But it was just something that really, I loved working with these young dudes, and the fact that we were going to all these different places in the country. Like in 2012, that summer was so much fun because you go to Texas for a week and run camp with these dudes, and then you fly to Boston to play a game, and then the next week you're flying to California to coach another week of camp, and then you fly to you fly to New York to go play the Lizards, and then you fly from New York down to Atlanta. And so in the span of that summer, I hit a lot of places on the camp circuit and just playing too. So it was a lot of fun, but it was a definite experience for sure too.
Yeah, this one I gotta let it run just for a second because the audio is the best part of this. This is Brian Farrell Cam with Chad Wiedemeyer.
Hurry up! Like the win. Let me dodge. Oh,
getting a little in there. I love it. This is like classic Farrell. And this is in Southern California. Remember the walk just to the field was like exactly.
Oh my God! It was like a workout in itself.
You go 3 sessions a day.
We bought like little mini skateboards.
So we talked about the raffles. But is there any moment from Trilogy camp that really like stands out that you still like to this day is like, oh yeah, this is A1?
There's so many moments. I mean, the raffles will always be number one for me because I think that was such a great way to end camp, right? You had this long week of working, and you had 3 days every day, and then you have these long film sessions and all different breakdowns. But this was our opportunity to just have fun and again just give back and have them experience something that they don't get to experience all the time. This raffle, and this one, I think this is one of our best ones we've ever done.
This is a rider in the church. So this kid, Henry Stites, he plays at Dartmouth now.
Oh, really?
We looked through these crowds, and we've started to compile some of this data. But
really?
These Future Aces camps from 13, 14, like all these kids are playing like top D1, D3, playing football at MIT. Like we got a crew in this
That's awesome.
And I think, one side of it is the camps piece. But like you said, this like ability to be a kid and have fun.
Yeah,
make it
be a kid.
That's what I think, like, why I loved camp so much, because, like, the on-field instruction piece was incredible, but then the off-field fun, it made it a real experience, like a total, and that's where I think sometimes
tuxedo cutoffs.
Yeah, we went all out for these things, and this raffle in particular, I think this was after 2014, so the World Games. You can see all that World Games gear. I think all of my USA gear went that year.
That's awesome.
People had a bunch of USA gear. this was like by far one of our most, that whole table's all Team USA stuff.
It's incredible. I mean, again, that give back to the stuff you guys would put in the raffles and the stuff that the kids got to have. Like, those kids will never forget that. And it's something so simple. Like, I know we all like to have our stuff and you can keep stuff here and there, but the fact that you guys are willing and always, RB is giving out jerseys and Strebel's giving out jerseys, you're giving out USA stuff. Like, that's gold to these guys, like absolute gold. And it's what makes it special. It makes, that's why you love working for Trilogy, because you guys care about the kids and you care about them enjoying the lacrosse experience. It's just, it's fascinating. It's why I love, every summer working camps with you guys.
And then I couldn't find the clear through monster, which I'm sorry, but you want to give an explanation for those out there what the clear justice of what the clear through monster is. That was when we were at Emory, right? I'm pretty sure that
I'm pretty sure it was at Emory. But RB was like, obviously he's, one of the smartest dudes you'll ever meet. Very emotional, very passionate when he coaches too. And we teach some simple fundamentals of the game. And one of the things that he was so passionate about this during the week was, if you're an attackman or if you're a player that, sees a good matchup and you are in the space of somebody who's about to dodge, if you're a right-hander and you have that right-handed alley and you're that right-handed attackman, to just clear through. And it's again, it's just trying to teach a little bit of IQ to these young guys. Like, hey, listen, like there's a good matchup, try to clear some space. So he would just scream and yell at these guys like, clear through, you got to clear through, when we like had transition opportunities or good opportunities for our middies to dodge or attackmen to dodge. And, it was one of those things where we were like, he's like a monster right now. And so, and during the raffle, I think
films.
What?
I think it was during.
What did you say?
I think it was during.
Oh no, it was during film. You're right. During film, we kind of teed up one of the one of the moments where a guy didn't clear through, and I go like, oh my gosh, who is that? And then you come out with like this T-shirt on or a box that says like with like a drawn up play on you of a guy clearing through and a dodge down the alley.
I think I had like a.
You gotta clear through.
I had like a sleeve of a jean jacket
yes.
over my head. That was like my mask.
It's hard to explain because it's such a it was such a unique image, but I'll never forget. And RB's sitting there like not expecting anything, and then all of a sudden you see you just come out. You gotta clear through. You gotta clear through.
All I can hope is that some kid that came to that camp like is in a game, and all I could think about was me screaming with this like denim hat on with the diagram. He's like, oh, I gotta clear through right
the
there.
diagram. Exactly.
They score.
Hey, if some kid out there gets like, hey, listen, I'm scared of the clear through monster. I gotta get my button gear and get out of the way. Then we did our jobs.
Yeah, well done. And then this one, I got to give full credit to my wife, who going to camp, and she suggested this to us.
This was I forgot about these. These were great.
So we would say that, okay, you got to pick up the box and you got to name what the item is as fast as you can. So we'll let it run.
Motive, pure, machine.
Coach Farrell.
Yep. And that was another part of the production. I remember like we'd be out on like session 2 of the day, and there'd be like an hour left in session 2, and I'd be like, all right, I gotta go. Like, why do you get to leave? It's like, I gotta set up for the raffle. It takes like 3 hours.
Yeah, I gotta go find 2 tables that match perfectly. I gotta buy like a cheap tablecloth that I can put over here, and I gotta find a space.
I've got to go to Walmart. I've got to go to Walmart for an hour and a half and find mystery box items.
I don't think we had anyone like fall over, but we had some good ones.
We had some good ones. Yeah, I know there was one I think at Ryder where a kid was like, he throws it back in the things.
And then one of my all-time favorite Brian Farrell memories, we were down at Under Armour headquarters and filming some videos. And this one in particular, you were doing stick tricks, and we were having fun with it, but you were getting frustrated. And by the end, I think you whipped about 3 balls into the middle of the inner harbor.
This is my first time like talking on camera, and I was so like I just bent out of shape. I remember that I had a red eye, so I got, I'm not making excuses, but it was my first time on camera. I was gonna suck anyway. So my kids watch this video and they give me so much. They're like, "Hey, coach, you want to do some stick tricks?" And so it's haunted me for a while. But yeah, you had to pay there.
I wish.
Do you have any outtakes of me throwing them?
I wish I had the outtakes, because you hucking the balls into the Inner Harbor in frustration is like probably one of my best memories of this entire trip to Under Armour. And I'll dig deeper and see if we can post some on social media. But yeah, like that one, you're like, we'll just drop it, we just keep going. But in real life, you like picked it up. you like one hand scooped it up and then just absolutely almost fired it across to the hotels on the other side. Oh man, good days.
Yeah, that was a fun day. Some good times,
man. Well, this has been an awesome stroll down memory lane, and Brian, like, I can't say enough how much I think as a teammate and as a coach, like, you were clearly born to coach. So those Boys Latin kids, they may give you a hard time, but that's because they, I'm sure, love you and love being part of your teams. And really, obviously bummed about the season for you guys, but know that you've got many, many, many more great seasons ahead of you. And I'm just really so pumped that we got to spend so much time together at camps, and so pumped that we got to play together. There's so many great memories that looking back, that videos don't do it justice. Yeah. But it's certainly been a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it too, Mitch. It's been one hell of a ride, and obviously we still got plenty more camps to run and a lot more memories to make, but it's funny. I don't think anybody's gonna understand like any of these things we're talking about.
Hopefully the Trilogy kids, the kids that came.
Trilogy kids will get it. Yeah, it's like, but there were some good times. You look back on your career, and you look back on obviously a professional career. Those were moments that help build you as a coach, help build you as a person. So I appreciate all that you and Ryan and the rest of Trilogy have done for me as well too.
Awesome. Well, we always finish up with a couple kind of quick hit questions.
Sure.
Favorite place to play across all lacrosse that you've ever played?
Bird Stadium, no doubt.
All right. How about do you have a very top lacrosse memory?
Oof.
Just one.
Top lacrosse memory. I mean, winning our ACC championship in the fashion we did it at Maryland was really neat. And a lot of great memories from that year, but that was definitely really neat. I'll always remember that.
Awesome.
And the Cannons too. That was a fun one too.
Yeah. Do you have a most embarrassing story or memory from lacrosse?
Most embarrassing story. Well, that stick trick video. Like I said, the kids still get me on that one. All the time. I ran a 40-yard dash when I was a senior. We were doing 40-yard dashes, and I decided to do it. Just in like this workout gear. And I remember I didn't tie my shorts well enough, and I was running, and boom, shorts came down like mid 40-yard dash. It was quite the scene there.
Did it take you down, or did you?
I was like I still kept stride, and I kind of just stopped and went off to the side, but it was funny when it happened. It didn't take me down.
Who's the most influential coach that you've played for?
That's really not a one-person answer. There's so many great influential coaches that I've had in my career. I mean, it starts with Coach Shriver. It starts with my dad. Obviously, I think we all, my dad was an excellent teacher, wonderful parent, and taught me so much. I guess if I was to narrow it down, it'd probably be him. But Bob Shriver played a huge role in my life. Dave Sapkowski, Dave Cottle. And then even for that 1 year, and I worked with him, was John Tillman, guys like Ryan Moran, Kevin Warren, just phenomenal people, phenomenal coaches, and helped influence me in a lot of ways. Bobby Wynn is a guy who I worked with up at Salisbury School. I mean, there's so many great coaches that help influence who you are as a person and a coach. So hard to pick one. If I was going to pick one, it'd be my dad, but I'd have to shout out a bunch of them too.
Awesome. So you've been a Towson guy. You know everything there is to know about Towson. there's tons of lacrosse tournaments and things that go on in Towson. Hidden gem that everyone needs to try in Towson, something that people might not know.
Whew. Okay, so there's a couple restaurants that my wife's kind of a foodie, but if you've never been to Ocean Pride, you've got to go to Ocean Pride and get a half and half soup. So that's half cream of crab and half Maryland crab. Throw those together. It's absolutely delicious. And
You get sherry on that or no sherry?
what's up?
You get a little sherry on that or no?
No, you just throw a little Old Bay on it, but it's absolutely delicious. And that's right down York Road. That would probably be my gem I mean, everybody knows what Ocean Pride is, but I think you go there, you get that kind of that soup. It's pretty spot on.
Awesome. Best teammate you've ever had across all lacrosse?
These are hard questions. I want to say that all of them, I mean, like, again, it's so tough because there's so many guys that you look back and you're like, man, like the scout team guys, the guys that never played, like guys that, were in my wedding that were, they didn't play as much as other guys did. And they're just selfless teammates. There's so many, I can't name one. It really is. It's too tough for me. I wish I could, but you look at from Boys Latin to Maryland to Cannons to Machine to Boys Latin as a coach, right? There's too many good teammates out there, and I think that's it. Just says it's the power of being on a team is that you're around so many great teammates, and that's why we always emphasize that, like being a good teammate. There's nothing more important than being a good teammate.
Very, very good coach's answer there, Ryan. Or Brian.
Yeah, I'm not throwing one. I mean, there's some fun ones out there, that's for sure.
I love it. Well, any closing thoughts? Because this was an awesome trip down memory lane, and you obviously have so much lacrosse knowledge and information to share with people. For kids or families or parents that are watching at home, like what would be your number one lacrosse advice, your closing advice to them about what they can do with the sport?
Yeah, I mean, just given the times right now, I think it's important to just talk about staying in there, hanging tough. I think we're all really fortunate right now to be, some people aren't as fortunate as some of us, and just to have perspective that we're going to get through this and to hang in there, stay tough. I'm not a big quote guy, but tough times don't last, tough people do. So, right now the best thing you can do is stay at home and I think work on. I actually, we talked to our team the other night about, when we're just. Right now when you can play lacrosse, you can have fun, right? You can go back to having fun and you can put a goal in your back net and, pretend that you're playing in the national championship game and, trying to score the game winner, or you're the goalie and you're making that national championship save. You can go out and have fun playing the game. There's no coaches on you. Like, you don't have to worry about guys. You don't have to worry about what plays you're running or what sets you're in. Or coaches on you at all times. Like, this is one time where you can actually go back to enjoying the game and having fun, having a goal in your backyard, having a wall, having anything. Like, go have fun. Go, try stick tricks, right? Watch my video.
Great video on that.
A little bit better, right? But I don't know. Like, again, I want to be out there coaching our guys more than anything, but there's no coaching going on right now. There's great videos and you guys put out awesome content. The college coaches, like, pay attention to what the college coaches are doing right now. They have a couple of videos out as well too. Like, those guys are putting out really good content. I think Trilogy has put out some excellent stuff too that you can just do at home. And just go out and have fun. Like, take it, like, everybody's looking for stuff to do. Go, like, they call it the medicine game for a reason. Go out and take an hour. My buzzword is bored. Like, anytime I say bored, I'm like, all right, I'm going to go throw the ball against the wall, or I'm going to go take my dog out and shoot on the goal and throw the ball around with her. So just go back to enjoying playing and not having to worry about anything.
Well said. I don't think I can add anything to that. So thanks so much, Brian, for joining us. And like I said, just always a pleasure seeing your face, and hope to see you this summer at a Trilogy event. And if not, then maybe sometime soon at Ocean Pride for some half and half soup.
Oh, half and half. Can't beat it. Absolutely. Right. Thanks, Mitch. I appreciate it, man.
Thanks, Brian.